everybody I fought was killers and are doing good. And all of our fights were super close. The only fight that wasn't really close, even Zabit, I beat Zabit the first round. And then second round, he submitted me. Yes. I guess that's why Sean Shelby and them let me back, because he called me before I got back in. He called me personally. I guess they tried to call first round, my old management. They tried to say that I couldn't make weight, on short notice or whatever. They weren't my management team anymore. So they're like, they were probably like, he can't make weight, but we got this guy.
That's some really underhanded shit, if you ask me.
I know. I was surprised. I was like, damn, that's fucked up. I'm trying to work my ass off to get back. And
what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Outside the Stadium. Here with us today is UFC. Well, last we saw him was bantamweight. Are you still a bantamweight, a featherweight? What are we coming back as?
Whatever they need me at. Honestly, I'm walking around. The other day I was 145.7, and I usually walk around at 167. And today I was 151.2. So I'm trying to keep my weight down so I can do either one. But I'm trying not to have any short notice fights if I don't have to.
I feel that. Well, we'll say UFC, whatever they need him. Brandon Davis. Brandon, how are you tonight?
I'm good. Worked all day and just got home from the gym. So long day. I've been up since 5 this morning working.
Absolutely. And we appreciate your time. I mean, first and foremost, how's the leg? How are you feeling? I saw an exciting post a couple weeks back.
Yeah, I got surgery January 15th. So that was 6 months ago. I get cleared from the doctor August 1st, and I feel good. I'm ready to fight. I'm in shape.
So did you end up getting that second ACL surgery, or were you able to avoid that?
So what they had to do was I guess it was infected from the beginning, like after they did the surgery, and this doctor supposedly has like one of the lowest infection rates, definitely in the South for sure, and on the East Coast. But I remember going to physical therapy and there being like a little bit of numbness and red down my shin. It was a little bit swollen, but it kind of went away after a week. So I figured it was nothing. And then I went to do my March, I guess, a 2-month checkup. And she pulled some fluid out of my knee and it was really brown and yellow. And she wanted to get it checked. So she sent it to the lab and stuff. So she called me the next morning right before I went to work, and she was like, you got your knees infected. You need to come in for emergency surgery today, whatever. So I immediately go up there and I had to wait up there for 7 hours. She doesn't even get there to do the surgery for 7 hours.
Damn.
But then, yeah, they opened it back up and they just washed it out. They didn't have to like reattach the ACL. They opened everything back up like the first time, cut back in the same exact spots, washed it out. Took some samples and stuff, and then they kept me in the hospital like 4 days, and then they told me they were going to put me on a PICC line, which is like your at-home IV that you'd be at home on an IV for 6 weeks or something like that. But after the results came back, and they, I guess it wasn't as bad as they thought it was, but it's still not good. So they put me on like 6 weeks of antibiotics that I could take by mouth. So it was a lot better than having to sit at home with the IV.
Oh, for sure. So you mean that it was literally infected from the jump after you got the first surgery, and it just was, you didn't know? Because how long was that? How many months after did they find that? That's pretty wild.
It was 2 months, 2 months after. And then, I mean, I couldn't tell the difference. I just felt like it was a little numb where it was, and it was red, but then it went away. And after both surgeries, I told them, like, I don't want any, pain meds or anything, because for one, I don't know what all you can take as far as UFC, but I mean, it's life. You got to deal with the pain sometimes, and it really wasn't that bad. And so they put me to sleep when they did the surgery, and then when they got up, it just let it hurt or whatever. I didn't take any of the pills, so I mean, I guess I thought it felt normal.
Well, I'm glad everything's all right. The original injury, it happened during the Baccarel fight?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. No, you want me to be honest?
Before?
I tore it almost 3 years ago.
Oh, damn.
So I fought my entire time. I think I tore it right before I fought Giga, and then I fought my entire time out of the UFC with it torn to try to get back into the UFC and then let them pay for it. And it ended up working out.
Wow. I mean, damn. But hey, it makes sense. I mean, if you tore it when you were initially with the UFC, it still makes sense for them
Yeah,
to they've went
yeah.
back.
I could have got them to pay for it a long time ago, but I don't know. I didn't think it was torn until one day I was in here training and I threw a jump knee, and when I landed, my foot hit the ground and my knee hit the ground on the inside. So then I tore my meniscus too, and I was like, oh yeah, it's definitely torn. I thought I tore everything. So
Wow.
I landed, my foot hit, and then my knee hit down on the inside of the ground, and then it made me fall backwards. And I was like, fuck, I'm not gonna be able to fight ever again, this and that. And I was all mad. But then I had been working at UPS, so I finally got insurance. Like, you get some really good health insurance at UPS, and had them do the MRIs and everything, and it came back, it was already torn before, and then I tore my meniscus when I did that.
Damn. So you made your 4-fight win streak, outside the UFC to come back and get back to the UFC. Pretty much, I'm not gonna say but hindered on pretty much a torn ACL. Definitely not at 100%.
Yeah, definitely not.
And I mean, just going back there, as somebody, first of all, I think your UFC career a couple years ago is very interesting because it's like weird how it's kind of aged better than maybe people have looked at it when you actually did it. Because if we look back now, it's like, oh man, this guy got cut after a split decision loss to Giga Chikadze. Like, saying that now pretty much makes no sense. Look at the other guys he fought, Randy Costa when he was all the hype. Zabit, who's like
literally everybody I fought went on a win streak, winning. Even Steven Peterson, like literally everybody I fought. So, I mean, and you got to go back to those fights. They're all either split decision losses or really like Kyung Ho Kong. He just beat Dana Bakri not too long ago, and I think he's on like a 7-fight win streak or something. That dude, I don't know how he's not ranked. He just doesn't fight very often, but that fight between me and him, the only reason he won that fight is because I threw a head kick in the third round and slipped, and he got on top. And then even then, I got up and I was still beating him up from the bottom when I was on the bottom. He couldn't take me down. And then the next fight, he fights some wrestler from Team Alpha Male, and he was wrestling the fuck out of him. Like, he wasn't doing any of that to me. But if you go back and look through, yeah, everybody I fought was killers and are doing good. And all of our fights were super close. The only fight that wasn't really close, even Zabit, I beat Zabit the first round, and then second round he submitted me. Yes, the only person that really just beat me up the whole time, and he didn't really do much damage, was tiring as hell, was Enrique Barzola. He just kept taking me down. I'd get up, he'd take me down again. But so yeah, I guess that's why Sean Shelby and them let me back, because he called me before I got back in. He called me personally, and I got one day, like I remember when before I got to the UFC the first time, I was like, man, I wonder if it's just gonna be like one day you get a call from Vegas and it says like a Las Vegas number and it's like, hey, I'm the matchmaker. But I was like, no, well, I'm sitting on the bed and it's a Vegas number come up and it shows like a little green check next to it, like it's a verified number. I was like, hello. He's like, hey, Brandon, this is Sean. It's Sean Shelby. I was like, oh shit, what's up? And he was wanting to see if I want to do 45 or 35, because at that time it was, if I wanted to do 35, it'd be Dana. If I wanted to do 45, it'd be, I can't remember the dude's name, whatever taller dude that was undefeated at the time that won the Ultimate Fighter. So I was surprised when he called me, but I guess I had switched managements like 3 or 4 months before that, and they tried to call my old management even before that. After I beat the guy that I fought my last fight before I got back to the UFC, he was like 16-4, and I finished him in the first round. And I guess they tried to call first round, my old management, and then they said they tried to say that I couldn't make weight, on short notice or whatever. They weren't my management team anymore, so they're like, but they were probably like, he can't make weight, but we got this guy. So they were like saying that I couldn't make weight, and they had one of their guys, but I wasn't under them anymore. So then when I told him who my management, when I talked to Sean, he told me, he's like, we talked to first or whatever management company. And I was like, I'm not with him anymore. I'm with Sucker Punch. So then he called them and like, man, didn't we talk about Brandon before? He's like, no. I don't know. It was weird. It was a big confusion. So I could have been in a little earlier, I guess.
Well, dude, fuck that old management company. Who are they? Let's get them at right now, man. That's some really underhanded shit, if you ask me.
I know. I was surprised. I was like, damn, that's fucked up. I'm trying to work my ass off to get back. And they're over here just like, nah, he can't make weight. I'm not even with them.
Damn, that's wild. But I mean, like, going forward, that's got to give you a lot of confidence coming back to the UFC, because guys in both divisions, Giga's a 145er at this point. Zabit was a 145er. So wherever you come in, how do you feel that you stack up, now, not only that, but you're coming in completely healthy, hopefully on a full or semi-full camp. Does that give you confidence just coming back into the UFC for your second round?
Oh, 100%. Like I am so excited to be able to fight and not have to think about maybe my knee's gonna buckle inside like it did that time in training at my house and stuff. So now I don't have to think about that. I'm gonna be able to fight a lot more, and that hindered me from throwing kicks, a lot of kicks. Like even with my right leg, like I could throw with my right leg, but if somebody caught it or if it landed with my foot in the wrong spot, it hurt. And then it was hard for me to throw left kicks because then you have to put all your weight on your right leg and twist. So then that's when it would pop. So it's going to be, I'll be a lot more like if you watched my earlier fights or my contender series fights when I was mixing stuff up a lot more, I'll be able to put a lot more variables in there. That's how towards like when I fought Giga, it was a lot more just boxing because I had already torn it then. It'll be back to like how I was in the beginning. So it'll be fun.
Absolutely. And you don't know yet if you want to make a run at 45 or 35.
Now I'm down to do either, whichever one they give me. I mean, if they want me to fight at 35 for this fight and 45 for the next fight, I don't care. I know I can make both weights, so just give me the time.
Absolutely. And I mean, we spoke about everything that you've been dealing with coming back. And I did want to ask you about something else. And I wouldn't even have brought this up, but you made a post about it before. You said that, you and your wife had been planning on getting divorced, and then less than a month later, you guys reconciled and put things back together. And the reason I bring it up is just because I feel like, and I know this because of myself and my generation, like we feel like when you encounter any kind of difficulty, like conflict, like the easiest move is to just, take a step back, like just back out and say, it's not worth it. Let me just walk away. And you didn't. And now, here you are. I assume that everything's still going great. And you've got 3 beautiful children with, 2 parents who are now going to stay together. Can you maybe give us a little bit of insight on, how you were able to just either swallow your pride and make it up, or just get past that, whatever had caused the initial conflict?
So it wasn't me ever wanting to get divorced, but she did because I was so busy between work and training that I didn't really show her any time or affection. Like when I got home, I'd be so tired. Like I wouldn't want to have sex because I'm tired. And I didn't want to be like, I ain't gonna say I didn't want to be around her. We still slept in the same room. We still did, everything was the same to me. I just was lazy. And then I'd play Call of Duty when I had my free time just because, I don't know, I like to compete and Call of Duty is fun. So like I try to win in whatever I'm doing. So it's another way to compete as far as in my mind. And then, so I'd be playing Call of Duty all day. I wouldn't show her any attention and everything. So eventually she got fed up with it. And we actually went up there and signed for the divorce or whatever, which takes 60 days. That was on May 27th. So we still have you have 60 days. And then you have after that 60 days, they give you 60 days to reconcile. And from, I guess in 2 days, if she wants to get divorced, she can go up there and sign. She has a year to go up there and sign anytime within a year after that. But I told her, so that happened on a Friday. I worked all day Saturday. I came home and I talked to her. I sat her down. I was like, look, give me the 60 days to show you that I do love you and I still want to be with you, and that I'll put the effort in to show you that I want to be with you. And I'm not just saying all this. And since then, I literally have not turned my Xbox on one time, haven't played Call of Duty. I take her out on dates. It feels like what it did when we first started dating. So I don't know, like we're both really happy now. And I don't know why I got so lazy. Like I know I was training really hard and trying to get back to the UFC. And I don't know, it was a long and a lot of things in between there where I got cut from the UFC, and then my dad died and I had already had a torn ACL and then fucked my knee up again where like I thought I'd torn everything whenever I was training in here. So I was kind of like a little bit depressed. So, but not like to a point where I guess I could say I was depressed, but I wasn't just like down all the time, but I just wasn't trying to put any effort into anything other than going to work and training and playing Call of Duty, I guess. So then I got everything out of line of what I needed to do. So I just put back into focus what I need to. And put my family first, and it's working out great. And we're both happy.
That's incredible. And like mentally, because it could have been so easy if you just say like, dude, like life's just, hitting me a million times with everything that you mentioned, getting caught from the UFC, the injury, your dad, and now this. Like, where do you draw from to just be like, shit, like you've been dealt a bad hand. It's not like that was a tough time, undoubtedly. How do you do that day one? Like you're not going to make everything back in like, one day. So how do you tell yourself, listen, like, let me start from square one and put this back together mentally when you're just so beat down?
Well, as far as like getting cut from the UFC, I knew mentally, like I knew that I was good enough to be in there. Like I know I can hang with any of those guys. Not like I said, nobody was just in there. It'd be different if I went in there and people were just fucking me up, but that was never the case. So I knew how close it was for me to. If you look at the fights, I lost to Kyle Bochniak. If you watch the fight, he shoots 10 takedowns. He gets, they say 3, he really gets 1, and then I immediately get up, and then I shoot once, I get him down once. And the strikes, I think I beat him. I think I landed like 90 strikes and he landed like 33 or something. I over doubled his strikes. So, but we fought in Boston in his hometown. So I thought I won that one. And then I won the Steven Peterson fight. Enrique Barzola made me look dumb by wrestling the fuck out of me. Zabit fight I won the first round. He finished me in the second. So he still didn't just make me look dumb other than what the submission he did to me. Cheong Kong could have went either way. And if I would have not slipped when I threw that head kick in the third, I think I 100% win that fight. Then I would beat Randy Costa. Then the Giga Chikadze fight, they call it a draw, and then they come back and call it a split decision loss after like 10 minutes later when we're in the back. So if you go back and look at that, I could have easily been 5-2 in my first run and been almost ranked. So I knew that I belonged in there. So that was never a problem. I know that I'd come out here and fight whoever I needed to fight and win. I wanted to get a couple submission wins to show that I can still submit people, and I want to get a couple knockout wins to show that I can still strike. And then as far as like the family stuff, I mean, there's nothing I want more than my family to be together. I mean, whatever I have to do for that, like I told her, like, you want me to sell the Xbox, I'll sell the Xbox. You want me to quit doing this, I'll quit doing this, whatever it was. And I meant it. So it just took her making me sign those papers, realize I was fucking up and that she was serious. So then after that, and I was like, all right, I need to get my stuff together and be a man. I mean, it was all my decisions that I was doing that was making it bad. So I had to right my wrongs and move on.
I think that's very well said. Kind of like a jolt in the ribs, just to, like a reminder that these are things that, yeah, some shit just happens, but some shit it's worth taking accountability for and moving on from. So that's extremely respectful. Now that we got everything squared away, what do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish coming back into the UFC? Like, you got to have obviously it's, win fights, kick ass, take names, make money, and win titles. But what's like the pervasive thought when you think about your return? What's the first thing that just pops into your head that you want to do in the UFC?
Oh man. So if you go and watch my fights between what have I had, 8 or 9 fights? All 8 fights, it's rare if I try to shoot. Like Giga, we tried to shoot because my knee was messed up, and we knew he didn't have a really good ground game. So my striking was good. I felt like I could have beat him in striking, but why not take the easiest route? But then, so that's really the only fight that I really shot. I shot on Kyle Bochniak once. Randy Costa tried to take me down. That's why we went to the ground. It's rare if you see me strike or try to do MMA. Usually I'm in there kickboxing. So I want to come back in there and show people that I'm an MMA fighter. Like, my takedowns are really good. My takedown defense is really good. It's even better than when I was in the UFC. And then people don't know how good my jiu-jitsu really is. Like, how many black belts I go with and submit, and it's unreal. And I'm a 3-stripe brown belt myself, but the only reason I haven't been a black belt is because I don't do the gi right now because I'm doing MMA. So my coach is always like, yo, we were going for a certain belt. That bitch is gold. Fuck that black belt. So I still do no-gi jiu-jitsu all the time, but they're not going to give me a belt doing that. So, I mean, I want to come back in there, of course, win my fights. I want to win some by knockout, and I want to win some by submission, just like I did outside of the UFC, and show people that I'm an MMA fighter. And like I said, I don't care if it's 35 or 45, what weight, doesn't matter to me. I can make both of them, and let me win these next 3 fights on my contract, get a new contract, and then I'm in no rush to try to get to a title or a number or anything. Shit, give me 3 people ranked right where I'm ranked at right now, or where I'm ranked when one person where I'm ranked now, and then move me up, and then let me fight. I'm not trying to fight the killers right now. I mean, if they give me that, so be it. I'm not scared of anybody, but let me show that I'm good enough to be in there, beat the people that are the level that I'm at, or that people think that I'm at right now, or wherever I'm ranked at right now, and work my way up slowly, make some money and get some wins and secure my place in there. And then let me go in there and try to fight Sean O'Malley. That's a fight I would love to have in 3 or 4 fights. After 3 fights, let me fight him.
Yeah, well, that's maybe work on, we don't want you going in for any eye surgeries after fighting Sean O'Malley. So maybe a couple fights before that, just so that we're safe. It's a little bit.
No, yeah, I definitely don't deserve that fight or anywhere close. I'm actually excited about him and Peter Yan fight. I think it's going to be a better fight than people think, but I think Yan wins for sure.
Oh yeah, do you think Yan finds a finish there?
Yeah, on the ground. I don't think he's going to knock him out. I actually think Sean, his movement's good. He switches stances. He doesn't stay still, so he gets good angles. I think he'll do better on the feet than people think. Like Peter Yan's really good at pressuring, and if you watch him and Cody, it looks good. But Sean and Cody are a little different. So I think Sean will do good on the feet in the beginning, and then Yan will start to find some shots, and then he'll get his takedown, and I think he'll finish him on the ground.
I like that.
He might finish him with ground and pound. I don't know if he'll finish him with a submission.
I hear that. And what about Aljo? Do you think he retains against TJ or not?
I don't. I want him to, but I don't think he will. I want him to, but I think TJ, just his movement, his setups, they're pretty good, and his wrestling's pretty good. Now, if Aljo can get on the back, that's a different story. But I think TJ's going to get it.
Well said. Well, before I let you go, this is something I like to ask everybody, just outside of mixed martial arts. Tell the fans, tell the followers something they may be surprised to find out about you.
Surprised. I don't know. I work at UPS. I don't know. Other than that, I don't know.
Used to be an avid Call of Duty player.
Oh man, you talk hours a day. Bro, I used to be pretty good. I don't know. Nowadays I'm not that interesting. I got locked down by the wife, and now I'm just a family guy, so I'm not mad about it though.
Family and fighting, well, you don't need anything more than that.
Hell yeah.
Well, once again, Brandon, thank you so much for your time. This is Brandon Davis. Thank you so much for coming on.
Hell yeah, I appreciate it.